What's up everyone? Hopefully you're having a great day. Thank you for viewing this video. I do appreciate it. This is obviously me changing out the Dirtbike Tube. So obviously going to go ahead and first things first, get the wheel off of the swing arm. That's probably the most simplest part of this entire video, is just taking that off alone. What I'm doing here is spraying the tire down, the entire wheel down, so I can create some slippage. And right now I'm just trying to pry away the bead from the actual wheel, so it'll just come off, obviously. You'll see that I'm using this compressor, that right there. I'm using that so it can create some compression around the actual wheel itself and help me actually get the bead off of the lock, if you will. There is no bead lock in this. I want to make that very clear. So some people run it, some people don't, to my understanding, but I actually did not. And this tube, funny story, this tube I thought was flat. Keyword, I thought was flat. And you'll see here in this video that I take the tire, or the tire off, obviously. I separate everything and I get the tube. And what I'm about to do with the tube, as you'll see, is I aired it up to see if it was going to keep any air. And I bought another tube for 20 bucks on Amazon. Not a bad deal by any means, obviously. And what happened was that I kept the tube aired up in this entire video, in which you'll see, and because I wanted to see if it was still good or not. Because previously, with me changing this tube out, if you will, the reason why I'm doing it is because before it would never keep any type of air. And I was so question marked in my head. I was like, what in the world's going on here? So basically at that point is whenever I bought the new tube. Right now I'm getting a socket so I can take the nut off of the valve stem, so I can take the old tube, which is, you're gonna see the tube I end up using. And I'm trying to take this whole thing off. So I'm going ahead and airing this thing up. Well, it was kind of funny because the tube kept the air, and I don't know why it wasn't doing it before, but it ended up keeping up all of the air. So here I'm spraying the tube down for any types of leaks. I'm about to air it up, but I don't see any leaks in it. So I'm like, what in the world's going on? So I left it to the side so I would be able to see through this entire install if the tube was going to go flat at all. Right now I'm basically just checking for anything that's going to potentially pierce it. What I did was I just duct taped the inner rim, that wheel lining right there. I just duct taped it. And this is the brand new tube that I'm using. It's never been used before. As you can see, I'm putting the bead lock in there as it is. And this is kind of I don't know if I would say the easiest part, but it's kind of challenging. I just put the whole wheel inside of the tube to where the actual wheel is in between both lips of the beads of the wheels, or the tire. So I'm getting my terminologies mixed up here because the video is going so fast, so forgive me, you guys. But basically what I did here was I put, once again, the wheel in between the beads of the tire, and now I'm just putting the beads in around the wheel. Now, what you're gonna see here was something pretty complex, because I started getting kind of impatient, and not really crazily impatient, but a little bit more than I guess I thought I was at the time. And you'll see something here. So I come here and I'm trying to pop the beads, and it's just not working out. What actually happened was that my bead lock was securely in there and it was not moving. Basically, the bead nothing set inside of the actual tire. So I actually tightened up the bead lock. I did not, where I failed in this total install was that I actually was supposed to put the bead lock, or the bead of the tire around the bead lock first, and then work your way around from there. Well, I did not do that at first, which is why right now I am kind of like having a puzzled question mark in my head as to what in the hell is going on. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, first things first, let's go ahead and create some compression, get this bead around the bead lock, which is inside of the tire right now, and hopefully that's gonna pop this bead. And then I end up finding out that that's not the case. I just have to completely redo this entire install of the tube to the tire. So right now I'm balancing it like crazy, trying to pop this bead. And obviously you can't see it because I just got impatient in regards of panning the camera that way. But that's what I was doing whenever I was not there, was literally just bouncing this thing. So right there, I'm spraying. I'm hoping that it's going to just get in and actually seat inside of the bead lock. It did not happen that way at all. So what I did was sprayed in there, and now I'm just trying to take off the tire completely. And at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and actually remove the tire and basically do a full, complete restart. So as you can see, this is where I'm completely restarting. Taking this tube out, this was the funny part. This is a brand new tube, never been used before, and I ended up pinching it in a few places. And now what I'm doing is using my old tube, which was it was good from the beginning. I never had to replace it. So this video I actually did. It was kind of a waste of time for me, but it was actually kind of a blessing in disguise because I was able to make this video for all of you to see. But right now I'm obviously wrestling with getting this tube in the tire. This was very difficult overall, and I was obviously trying to use that other tool that creates compression. I was trying to use that. This is not what that tool is intended to be used for, obviously, but for me, I like to work with what I've got, and that's just what I had on hand. So make sure that you do use soapy water generously so you're able to create a good amount of slipping. That's just for the rubber to kind of slip around. And right now I literally am trying to figure out like how to get this tire or this tube around the wheel to get inside of the tire. And here I'm just putting it around, trying to figure out any which way I can do this. And it ended up not going down this way, and you'll see here in a minute. So right now I'm obviously putting the wheel inside of the tire, because now I'm just going to go ahead and stuff the thing in there, and that actually was the way to do it in the end, for me at least. So I did one side, as you can see, and I left the other bead kind of over the wheel, but now you can see I'm actually able to stuff it in there completely and then use the soapy water as well. Again, use the soapy water as generously as possible, because that really is what's going to help you with this entire install. Then right now what I'm doing is I'm trying to create some compression so I can actually go around and put the I'm looking at the bead lock. I'm trying to press the bead lock in as much as I can and get the actual bead, the tire bead that is, around that wheel lock first, which is what I completely failed at doing in the beginning of this video. And actually at the beginning of the video, I didn't even have a bead lock in there. So now I got a bead lock in there. I did the bead lock, or I did the bead inside of the bead lock first, and now I'm working my way around, and here in a second it's going to be complete. This part you're really going to have to wrestle with. It took a lot of strength and all this to get around, but I finally got it. Here I'm airing it up, and then I get puzzled again, and I'm like, what in the world is going on? I'm checking around for leaks. I don't see any leaks, but I hear something, and I actually check the valve stem, which is what I'm doing right now. And I'm like, okay, I need to get a valve stem, a valve core remover, but in this case, I actually had to tighten it. So that was the actual problem this entire time, was that I had a loose valve stem valve. Literally had a loose valve in my valve stem. Had to get that tightened up, had to go ahead and put it back in. Everything was keeping air at this point, which is where you now see me putting this this whole wheel back onto the swing arm. But that ended up being my whole problem. My entire issue was, in fact, that I had a loose valve core in my valve stem on my old tube. Once again, I would have never made this video had I not known that, or had I known that, like, all that needed to be done was tightened of the valve core. If I knew that, obviously this video would have never been made, but because now I was obviously changing out the old tube, which is the current tube, to the new tube, which is now the old tube, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Now you guys get to see exactly what goes on, but you definitely want to make sure that that use soapy water, have some muscle, and if you don't have muscle, you can use that tool that I was using and kind of take it on from there though. So overall, it's not an easy install. If I were you, I would definitely use a moving blanket, which is what I was using because I don't have a tire stand changer. I would definitely do it this way. This helped me at least. So really, I hope this helped a little bit on positioning and how to get this done. But definitely, whenever you get everything installed back on, make sure that you are going from the bead lock and working your way around from there. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, by the way. Thanks for viewing.